Hello and shalom. This is Jay Rivka Asulin, founder and executive director of Ancient Roots Israel. Ooh, finding my light again. Ancient Roots Israel is the first international herbal conference and community in Israel. What does that mean? What does that mean? I don't know what it means really in these times. It means that we should have had an annual conference this year. We couldn't. Obviously, we will reschedule that as soon as possible, but it's getting confusing to figure out whether or not herbal conferences will be a thing of the future as they were of the past. But at any rate, I'm here, I'm ready and waiting to have the herbal conference. And the community is what you are right here. Anybody watching this video is invited to be part of the Ancient Roots Israel herbal community. There aren't dues to pay, there aren't anything. It's just a collaborative. It's a bunch of us plant people who are at various stages of our plant journey. And here I'm going to frame the plant we're going to talk about behind me in a minute. Hang on. Let's see if you can see that. You see that? A little clue. Little clues. Okay. So we're just normal folk who love the plants, who love having medical autonomy, who love being able to go outside in our wild weed spaces, in our green spaces that can be on this hill, this kind of building site behind me. It can be on the sidewalk. Just a second, babe. It can be, wherever. It can be in a yard. It can be in a park. It can be in a garden. It can be along the side of the street. Everyone has one. It doesn't matter if you're living in a rural or an urban area. Everybody has green spaces where the weeds grow. And those weeds can be used for both nutrition and medicine. And that's what our journey is together. It's to learn about how to work with the plants in a sustainable way so that they keep growing, keep being invasive, especially those weeds. And we can kind of help them in that way, and then learning how to use them as medicine and as food, and they can help us, and we can have a good symbiotic relationship with the plants that way. So that's what I have to say about that. You remember the drill. Get out in the sun, uncover your hair, roll up your sleeves, hike up your skirts, roll up your pants, expose as much of your largest organ. Hello, mouth. No, my mouth is not my largest organ, contrary to maybe what some might say. No, it's your skin. It's your skin. And so we are trying to get the vitamin D from the sun. 15 minutes a day is all you need, although I just saw this great meme about 20 minutes a day. 20 minutes is even better than 15. So if you want to bump that up to 20, go for it now. But get out, get the sun every moment you're able. Get a good long stretch out in nature with the sun. Take off your shoes. I'm trying to show you my feet. Believe me, my shoes are off. But you can't see it right now. Anyway, okay, what is the surprise herb we're going to talk about today? Back in the early days of the virtual plant walk, when I would do a new plant every day, and I would just kind of like go around and try and cover as many plants in like an hour as I could, I covered a plant called mustard. And you can see behind me, all that green is mustard growing on this new kind of dirt hill that was made at a building site. That's the kind of places you're going to find mustard. I'll show you some more in a bit. But mustard is prolific. It is certainly a wild weed. There's two major types of mustard in Israel. You'll get to know the differences between the two because one will absolutely bite you when you eat it, and the other one has like a nice kind of mellow warmth. That's the best way to tell. But some other clues are going to be those hairs. So especially on the back of the leaves, all mustard has hairs. Let's start there. But on the back of the leaves of some mustards, those can really poke you. Like I have had mustard poke me in a way that stinging nettle has here. Again, the stinging nettle is less pokey than in the United States, in North America, from what I understand. The species that we have here, much richer and more intense here, lighter in North America, but more pokey. I don't know. Interesting things, interesting little personalities about the plants. But anyway, we did briefly cover mustard. I just want to go a little bit more into that today. Let's begin. Okay, so we are going to take a look at little baby mustard. Here is baby mustard. Here is my shoe, so you can see this is a little tiny plant. Okay, just starting to grow. Something that is, I think, noticeable about mustard is that it's got the hairs. Those hairs can poke you when mustard gets bigger. Look over here. That's another stage of mustard. Okay. Again, here's a nice specimen. The leaves kind of have this separated bottom part, and then this kind of, tri-leaf top part, if you can kind of see it. The hairs are definitely getting, here's some more of that. You can see how the bottom leaves are kind of separated on the stem. Isn't that interesting? But they're all kind of facing forward. New growth, of course, a little different. They've got that glossy, kind of waxy feel. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to show you a few more of these little plants. There's some groundsel, by the way, which we covered. Here we go. Some more plants. And then do you see these big, tall plants over there? This is all mustard. Here's my little one gathering mustard greens. Once you taste these mustard greens, you will have a brand new respect for my children. Oh my gosh, look, there's some cool, there's a lupine, and there's an anemone, and groundsel. Wow, and what is that? That little kind of star-shaped one. I'm going to have to look into that. And we've got Rakefet, which is cyclamen, growing here. We've got a lot of things happening. But let's focus back on the mustard for a minute. So the mustard can get really tall. This is about 3 feet tall. I've seen mustard as tall as I am. I'm not so tall, but we've got that. I just want to show you the 4 petaled flowers. They're very simple. Sometimes they taste mustardy. Sometimes they taste like hot chocolate fudge or something. Doesn't that sound weird? But I've had that happen quite a few times. Mustard, commercial mustard as a condiment, is made from the seeds, although I have a friend who makes them from the flowers and seeds. Again, it's just drawing your attention back to these interesting leaves. Just an interesting pattern. I don't have any scientific way, I don't have all that stuff that botanists have, but I can tell you that the lower leaves are separate, and then they kind of get closer together to form this kind of top, which can be like the tri-leaved one that I showed you, or kind of like this. It's still got that triangular shape, that tri shape. Okay. So, wow, we have quite a harvest. I could probably harvest all these. This is just turning the camera, in an abandoned kind of lot here on my yishuv, where you find mustard often. I'm going to do the taste test for you. Amazing. There's nothing like mustard greens. They have such a bite, such a kick. They warm up your whole mouth. You start salivating immediately, and you feel kind of your digestive system get totally revved up. They remind me of the nasturtiums, if you saw that video. It has that kind of just warming nasturtiums, I felt it more in the heart, but obviously you can feel this as well. When I feel that kind of warming taste, I think about lungs, and that's exactly what mustard is great for. Okay, look, there's my, hang on. Okay, Enya's got a bouquet of mustard greens and some roquefort, which are endangered plants, so we can't pick them anymore. Okay, come on, we're gonna go to the park. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about mustard on the walk to the park, on the fly. I'm always on the fly. My kids are racing. Mustard, so great. I'll grab the pictures of mustard on the way back home, and the flower. So mustard, upper respiratory infections, we're always looking for that. Ooh, I'm feeling it on the back of my tongue, that heat, that tang. Here's some more mustard. Do you see that? Just growing along the side of kind of the sidewalk in an abandoned space, and there's some more next to an electricity box. It's okay. It's okay. I want to say this. Being able to identify mustard is great. It's great. It's a nutritious, healthy green. You can put it in your salad. You can eat it, snack on it like my kids do. Your palate will be like buzzing, and it's super fun. But I want to say something. I always encourage you to have at least 3 sources. 1, 2, 3. I'm one source. You need 2 more sources to identify any plant. And I'm reminding you of this because mustard, when it's a little baby, it could be confused with other things. It's kind of hard to discern it. You have to start getting a feel for mustard, and then you can see it everywhere. But you don't need to feel like you need to push yourself or rush yourself into identifying mustard before you're ready. Make sure that you have mustard. Just, it's okay. You can take extra time, and wait until it gets a bit bigger. First, people will have different things that speak to them about mustard to help make it easy to identify. So, oh dear. Okay, lots of interruptions. Mustard, I'm saying don't push yourself. That's what I'm saying. To some people, they might really need to see that height and see how high the plant gets before they'll feel comfortable identifying it. Some people are going to need to see that flower. Some people, they like that, the leaf pattern.
Flowers blowing and run.
Okay, don't pick these flowers because they are endangered. Anemones are endangered, and so are cyclamen. Okay. Anyway. Right. So identify it when you are good and ready. Identify it when you are sure. It's better to be sure and miss some yummy greens at one stage and not eat a plant that you shouldn't be eating than, the alternative. So, okay, let's go back to mustard for a minute. Mustard, upper respiratory, ear, nose, and throat. You boil those mustard greens and breathe it in. You're going to have some nice sinus clearing. You eat enough of the mustard greens and you'll get some of that. I feel it more in this area, in the back of my throat and ears, than necessarily the sinuses in my nose. But I know for a fact that even breathing that in different ways can be super duper helpful. I will tell you a great story because stories are really the best ways. I gotta find my light here. Stories are, okay, now I can't see myself, but I'm sure you can see me. Stories are the best ways to remember the plants. So I'm going to tell you a great story about mustard. Last year, when COVID was just kind of rearing its ugly head and people were talking about an upper respiratory tract infection, bioweapon, whatever, people were saying. And this was before some of the blood things were so clear. I took a bunch of mustard and I ground it up in a blender. and I froze it. I froze it so that I would have some in my freezer all ready to go to make mustard packs if I needed it. And as it turns out, thank God we did not have COVID, but my son did have some situation where he was having tightness in his chest and he had some kind of upper respiratory ailment. And we took out that mustard and we found a way to like warm it up gently, so that when it was warm, not burning, right? We are all adults. I say it over and over. Like, I don't want to be the McDonald's that someone sued me because they didn't realize their coffee was going to be hot. Okay. You can burn people if things are scorching temperatures. So obviously you would not put something burning hot on your skin, or worst of all, on a child's skin. You would want it to be warm. You'd want it to be pleasantly warm. But again, I know that we are all adults and we can manage that. So anyway, I put some over his chest and put like some warm towels over it. Warm. Okay, towels over it. To kind of keep it hot. In fact, I think we put like some saran wrap over it and then the towels so that the towels wouldn't be destroyed. I was just talking about you, Pele, right now. I'm doing a video. And he was able to breathe easier very quickly and he felt great. So that's a story I think that will help you remember mustard. Mustard packs can be used for anything, not just clearing out mucus or whatever in different areas. It can also be used on sore muscles. So good. So same way, you want to grind up those leaves to really break down the cell wall. You want it to be warm. You can warm it up on a stove or whatever, or put the herb, the ground up herb. It'll be like a watery kind of paste. You'll put it on the sore muscle, and you'll put a warm towel, or a towel that's been soaked in some warm water, very warm, closer to hot. Again, you could put saran wrap if you don't want to destroy your towels, or some other creative thing. Put your creative ideas below, and put it right onto that sore muscle, and you should be feeling good soon. What else? Talked about how you can make mustard with it. I talked about ear, nose, and throat. I talked about respiratory and lungs. I talked about sore muscles. I talked about nutrition in salads and that sort of thing. Nothing else is jumping out at me right now. Probably everyone in the audience I know, I have another use. Okay, so you're going to put your usage below, in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, to hit that notification bell. So even if you're on the virtual Plantwalk and I send the video, it's always great to have another reminder through YouTube. And of course, depending on what YouTube does as far as censorship and where this goes, we are working on a backup channel as well. Great. So I think that's all. If you have any questions or comments, do that here, and we will be seeing you on our next virtual Plantwalk next Sunday. Take care.